Hello and welcome yet again to another episode of The Naked Turner. Today I'm going to be turning a piece of this eucalyptus, and the species of eucalyptus, because there are so many species of eucalyptus, I'm not quite sure. I just know I got this from a local woodturning class that was going out of business and happened to get a really good deal on it. I've turned one small bowl out of this. It's not a very big piece, but I'm going to try turning a small bowl out of this today, and hopefully we'll get something interesting out of it. The last one I did was really beautiful. The other thing I wanted to show you, or the other thing I wanted to share with you, is I turned this bowl about 2 months ago out of a piece of ornamental plum, and it came from a tree that was taken down at a house that I was working on, and that I have been working on, and it got a very interesting shape. It turned into sort of a football or boat shaped bowl and has some nice coloring. It's a real pretty piece, and I am going to be just sanding the bottom smooth or flat and finishing the bottom off. I left that unfinished so that moisture could wick out through here. And the key thing with this was I turned it to a very consistent thickness all through the entire bowl, and that's why it dried out and did not split. It has a few minor little checks in it here, but it did not split out, and I'm real happy with that. So I'm going to be giving this to the people who own the home that I was working on, where they lost their plum tree due to increasing a staircase down the side of their house. So I thought it would be nice for them to have a little piece of the old plum tree as a memory. Anyway, the other thing is I've been inspired by Pete, TGIF, and I saw him doing some finishing with a natural hair shoe shining brush, so I just got myself one of these today, and I think I'm going to give it a try. Alright, the other thing I'd like to mention, as I often do, is please remember to turn safely. You won't be a turner if you don't turn safely. You will eventually injure yourself, and some of those injuries could be catastrophic, leading to an inability to turn, at least for a period of time and potentially forever. These pieces of wood, some of them fairly large, can be spinning at relatively high rates of speed, can break fingers, could fly off and hit you in the eye and create a blindness, hit you in the nose and bust your nose. My father once received a fairly large gash to his forehead because he did not have his face shield on, and it was really ugly. He lost a lot of blood and it looked really gross. So remember to read, understand, and follow all of the safety tips and tricks for your tool, because you don't want to have an injury. And the most important thing, of course, always remember to wear your face shield. Alright? One other thing I wanted to show you guys. I was inspired once again by Robbie the Woodturner, and I took an old chuck that I had showed you on one of my other videos and mounted it up on this mahogany handle, and it works great for drilling into the end of anything you want to create a depth gauge for, or a small hole for whatever reason, for a mortise. And anyway, great little tool. I highly suggest making yourself one if you can. Alright, I have this piece marked here for approximately where I want the center to be. I'm now drilling a small, approximately 1/8 inch, yeah, this 1/8 inch pilot hole for my circle cutting jig, and it looks like that's deep enough. All right, so let's move in to the bandsaw and the circle cutting jig. All right, so here we are at my circle cutting jig. I have my pin in 1, 2.5 inches, or a little over 2.5 inches from. So let's see. Actually, you know, I think I'm going to start out going over here. Just go to 3 because this thing is pretty close to being 6 inches, and just go to 3. Then the way this works is, in case some of you haven't seen these circle cutting jigs for your bandsaw, this has a spline that runs down the middle of your slot, your dadoed out slot in your saw table. So this slides through, and then it has a stop point built in here to the underside. That's just a block of wood that hits your saw table. That stops your progress right when your blade is on line with this line. Then you just drill a series of holes corresponding to inches and half inches or whatever you want to do. And you can create different stops. If you wanted to have a stop here and have a series of holes that were 1/4 inch increments or something like that, you could do a series of different holes. This so far has served me perfectly well. So the way it works, you have your hole drilled in your piece, and I'm hoping that you can see this. I drop this onto my pin, which is nothing more than a nail that I've cut down, and then this piece can spin here. And the nice piece about this, the nice thing about this style is that you travel into your cut, so you don't have to get it roughed into shape or anything like that. And let's see, I'm going to start up the saw. Let me get my safety gear on. And all right, that's how it works. Turn it on, bring the table in, so it stops, and then start to cut. Back in the original cut. And there you have it. Detension your bandsaw blade. And that'll save the blade. It won't get so stretched out, and it'll save your bearings. Okay, so now I'm mounting up my 2.5 inch faceplate. Pre-drilled some holes so I wouldn't split the wood. Okay, and then I have my spindle adapter. And make sure you can see that. Let me back out a little. Alright, so here I have my spindle adapter, which is a 1 1/4 by 8 to a 1 by 8 that matches up with my smaller faceplate, because I don't have a 1 1/4 by 8 faceplate, unfortunately. Oh, this might be the funny faceplate. Feels like it is. Okay, so I got the right faceplate. One of my faceplates, the threads are ever so slightly crimped for whatever reason right around the end, and I don't like to use that one because I don't want to mess up the spindle adapter threads. So anyway, that's a 1 1/4 by 8 to 1 inch by 8 to my faceplate to my blank. And that looks pretty good. Alright, so this is going to be the bottom of my bowl on this particular piece of wood, because I wanted to save as much of the height of wood as possible. A lot of the time I would turn this around and do it the opposite way, but today I'm going to be turning it like this. I was thinking about doing a natural edge, but a lot of this bark is a little bit too loose, so I decided it wouldn't really serve to try to do it when these pieces are already kind of falling off. go ahead and have this be the bottom of my bowl. This will be the inside top of my bowl. All right, and my safety, let me get position, safety gear on, and everything's locked down, powering up. Pretty well centered. Okay, I'm getting real close to being into round. Okay, that is pretty much there. A little bit of tear out here. Now I'm going to start shaping the bottom here of the bowl. Okay. Getting to solid stock there. Have a little bit more of the bark left right there. And a little tear out right here, or a splinter right there. I'll be blending that corner in anyway. I'm using a very sharp, narrow parting tool just to peel some of this away to make a small tenon to grab the bottom of my bowl. Okay, switching back, bringing the tool rest in a little closer. That's looking good. Now, moving around. Alright. Still good. Some shape. Alright, so I'm here on this outside edge of the bowl now doing some shaping. And I'm doing this with this shear scraping. Kind of doing this to kind of blend everything in, turning up the speed a little. I'm right around 1600 RPM. shape I'm looking for. Right there. Let's see how everything looks. That looks beautiful. Very clean. There's a little bit of a chatter right here, which I'm going to try to get rid of right now. And I'll be doing that with a little more shear scraping. And actually, stop that for a sec. I'm going to bring this in. See how that looks. Okay, at this point it's about some sanding. There's a little bit of fibrous eucalyptus-like weird sinewy end grain here, and that's just how this stuff is, but I think with some sanding it'll be ready to rock and roll. The rest of it is really smooth, just beautifully smooth, so I'll do some sanding and check back in. Alright, so here I have it sanded down to 320, and I may do a little bit more sanding eventually, but I think at 320 with this particular wood is going to be really good. This stuff seems to take, because it's so hard and relatively oily, it seems to take a shine real quickly. At least that was my experience with the last piece of this same species of eucalyptus, and like I said, I wish I knew what species it was, but I don't. Okay, just hand rubbing a little finish on here. There we go. And now turning on the speed at slow speed, and down around, what am I at? About 520 RPM. Giving it a little pressure. Building up some heat and some friction. So the way this finish works is that the oils and the waxes act as a lubricant for the shellac, as well as a beautifying agent for the wood and a protective finish. And what the shellac does is the shellac acts as kind of a sealing agent to help seal all this stuff in, and then you don't have some of the inherent problems you might have with just with a wax finish. Things like cloudiness, hazing, potential molding below the surface of the wax. This kind of eliminates a lot of that and creates a pretty nice finish. Anyway. Oh, that's right, I forgot all about that. I'm gonna try a little with the soft brush here. Thank you, Pete. I'm giving this a try. I was inspired when I watched you doing your turning. I'm doing the bristle brush technique. And I kind of like it. It has a nice feel to it while you're doing it. Okay. And now I'm going to bring up the speed. Now I'm spinning right around 2300 RPM. looks pretty nice. Yeah, I like that. Has a nice feel. Might be a little less glossy than when I burnish it with cotton, or sometimes with paper, but most of the time with cotton. May have just a little less luster to it, but that's fine. I like it. It's a nice, easy application. All right, here we go. Next part of the process, we'll be flipping this around, grabbing it with my scrolling jaw chuck, and hollowing out the inside. Everything's locked down, and safety gear. Turning down the speed. I was up in polishing mode. First thing I'm going to do is surface this. I'll have a nice sharp round nose scraper. I just sharpened up my other scraper here. You can see what nice ribbons it's taking off. I just need to move my tool rest up a hair. Okay. Okay, so I can feel like I have a lot of removal I can do in here still. Another 3/8 to 1/2 inch. Removing more off the bottom. Getting some wind out here. Let's see if I can do any shear scraping right inside of here. Alright. Now, just have to get rid of some more of that material right in here. So yeah, I have my 1/2 inch by 1/2 inch scraper. So now the question is, can I get in here and soften this curve? It's going to be tough, but we'll see if we can do it. Very fine passes there. Okay, now moving the tool rest. Now let's see if I can. Okay, we're going to try it. Okay, let's see how deep we are here. We're about inch and just over inch and 3/4. So I can go about another 1/4 inch in depth. So I think I've reached a good point at the bottom. Getting rid of a little mud. Alright, now blending it in. Yep, I just got it. Alright, one little hump down here. Found them. So I'll do some sanding and then check back in with you before I put the finish on. Okay, I'm going to put some finish on here. And starting out, I'll just squirt some down here into the bowl. Sorry, maybe I was out of frame here. So yeah, I'll be let me widen out a little. I'll be cutting off the foot here with my pull saw and then sanding it down. There you have it. Finished Eucalyptus Bowl. The weather's getting real transitional here right now. Some clouds came in and it's definitely changing. Alright, so there you have it. I'll take a few stills and post those when I'm done.